Hi everyone, I thought I would grab this book for a change. I don't colour on video in Kerby's books very often. In fact, I haven't done a lot in Kerby's books for a while because I've been concentrating on other books. And I've been looking around for something that's a little bit more Halloweeny, and I knew that Kerby would have something. So I picked this page here. I've also picked my Holbein pencils just so you know what I'm doing with this page. So for me, looking at this image, come in a little bit closer, I could see haunted house, I reckoned. We've got a little black cat here. There's a skull here, which isn't totally unusual for Kerby anyway. We've got and it looks quite ruined, and we've got bats. And we've got quite a cross-looking tortoise. I thought, you know, it might be an interesting one to do. Now, I don't necessarily want to make it look really scary, but I haven't really decided what I'm doing with it. The reason I grabbed the Holbeins is because we've got quite a good range of colours. So we've got the vibrant colours, the intense ones, we've got luminous even, but we've also got pastel and sort of slightly darker, duller tones. So I thought it would be quite good because I hadn't decided what I'm doing, still haven't, and I thought it would give me lots of options. So where I am going to start with this one is actually with the trees. So we've got a lot of trees growing through our house. I thought I would start there, then we could see where the trees ended and the house begins, and the tortoise as well, and that would give me a starting place. And I know what colour I want to colour the trees vaguely, not completely. So I'm just having a little look at the Holbeins and the colours. Now we've got a really nice burnt umber colour here, which isn't as dark as most burnt umbers are in most sets that I have. I can't come in that much closer because the trees are quite a big part. I think that's about it, quite a big part of the picture. Now what I'm going to do first is just pick out all of the tree parts with the burnt umber. So I'm just basically sort of searching through, trying to find all the bits. Now this is where I find Kerby's a little bit daunting, because there are so many little bits and bobs that trying to find what's what and where is a little bit tricky. And that's probably why I don't do Kerby pictures that often. But once I start, I actually find they're quite kind to colourists, in the sense that there's a lot of shading drawn in for you using the black. So you can either just not shade and let that speak for you, or use that as a guide for what you're doing yourself. So it can make it a little bit easier, but you do have to pick out all the little bits and bobs. And Worlds Within Worlds isn't quite such a tricky book as Imagimorphia, which is the other one that I have of Kerby's, where there's all sorts of random items in many of the pictures. So you have to decide, are you going to colour them each in a different colour, or are you going to just sort of do them all the same colour, or sort of colour them so they disappear into the background? You know, there's lots of decisions to make, but yeah, I find that complicates it somewhat in my head when I'm trying to colour. That's our first one. I've got another branch coming up here. Not staying in the lines very well, but I don't think I'm going to mind that much, so we'll just won't worry about it. There we go. It's Saturday afternoon. I didn't have time to make videos this morning. Got up and I was cleaning, washing, all those things. I don't know why we choose to do them on the weekend. I guess I quite like it if I get a bit of help. I used to wash the towels and the sheets and clean the whole house on a Friday, do the whole lot in one go when the children were at school, and it would just all be ready for the weekend. But I think we've sort of moved it to a Saturday, and people muck in and help. Well, one child was with husband shopping, and the other was helping me, so that was quite good. So it didn't take that long but yeah, I didn't, by the time I'd done it, and then they came back from shopping, we unpacked, and I wanted to drink and everything else. I was like, oh, I'll just leave this till this afternoon when I'm a bit fresher, you know, have a bit of a rest. So that was all good. Now you can see, if you're looking at this house, how three-dimensional it looks just from where it's drawn. So you don't actually have to worry too much about trying to get that even into your picture. Now for some people, I understand that that would be the challenge, that they would want to do that on their own, and I do enjoy having a go at that myself. I'm not perfect. Some pictures are drawn in a way that makes it easier than others, but yeah, sometimes I want to go, sometimes I don't. I'm quite happy to not. So now here I'm just guessing a little bit because I'm struggling to work out quite what's going on, whether we're in roots, branches, or bits of tortoise, but I'm just doing that, I think. Also this bit, I think, trying to just, I sometimes think it doesn't matter that much if it goes a little bit wrong. If you think you've coloured, if you look at it later and go, oh, actually that probably wasn't supposed to be there, it doesn't matter that much. It's your picture. Just learn and move on. You know, it might be a case of, okay, next time maybe I'll look a bit harder first. But actually, I don't tend to worry about it. But I know not everyone's quite as laid back as me when it comes to these sorts of things. I see a mistake as a learning opportunity. When I go back and see it again, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, that's when I did that. You know, I don't, it doesn't upset me or anything, you know. But I'm lucky because I've got plenty of books. So I know that, you know, if I've made a mistake on that page of that book, I can go and try it in a different book or whatever, you know. And I always see anything that isn't quite perfect, as I said, as a learning experience, but it's a memory which I can look back on and think about. And if I sort of, you know, try to overwork it too much, cover it over with something or whatever, I wouldn't then remember necessarily that learning experience that I'd had, because I've covered it over. I think all these bits are probably gel, so I'm going to go for this big bit here. But I always feel that we're all learning throughout our whole lives. You know, we have the opportunity to learn, and I think it's really healthy to keep on learning. Apparently, it can help our days go slower if we're learning new things. That's quite interesting, isn't it? And, you know, I know we don't, some of us might not want to slow down time, but others of us might notice that as we get older, it seems to be going fast. And so if you want to slow it down, learning some new things. So, you know, learning some new colouring techniques, or, you know, maybe trying out a new book or some new pencils or something. There's always something to learn, which is nice. I'm getting a new book and some new pencils soon. I'm very lucky. A company in China are going to send me some pencils. I don't know when they're going to arrive. They have sent them, but they got a little bit disrupted because I think they had a typhoon there. They had to close their office for a few days. Fortunately, my contact said everyone was safe. It was fine. It was they were a bit overcautious, but you know. But she said it delayed her sending them out, which was completely understandable. And so I'll be getting some pencils, and I think they're umber, something like that. I will show you when I get them anyway. You will, if you're interested, you can watch the video. And I'm also getting a very interesting looking book. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think when it might arrive. I can't really predict because probably may have already seen In fact, you might have seen the video for the pencils, but I think things take a little while to come from China. But the book may have come already. It's a 1920s book. Now, I wasn't initially sure because I have a lot of books, but I do like the 1920s. It's lots of sort of flappers and things like that, and it's just such a lovely time that I thought, and I love the Charleston. So I thought, okay. And my gran used to dress with the long dress, fringe dresses and big long beads and things like that. She used to tell me about. I've not. It's interesting because there's a photo of her as a very young child winning a fancy dress competition, and then there aren't any. I haven't seen any photos of her in that sort of era when she was dressing up like that. I would love to, but anyway. So remind me of her, which is lovely. I was quite old. I'd been married. It's probably, let me think, 20 plus years. But she was in her 90s. She was really strong, actually. You know, it was unfortunately an injury. She fell out of bed onto something, which wasn't nice. But anyway, sorry, get a bit depressing. But yeah, as I say, she was really strong, and she'd gone into her home actually because she'd fallen over a few times, and my parents were getting a bit worried. But actually, she tripped over a curb. I remember that when she was looking at a dog. She always had a thing for dogs. She did have a dog when she was first married, I think. When my dad was little, they had a dog. And so she was looking at a dog and was crossing the road and wasn't properly paying attention and tripped up the curb. I think it could happen to anyone at any age, but she managed to, she hit her face, she broke her nose and her arm. And she had a bit of a problem where her arm was in a sling, but her arm was so heavy because of it being broken that she, I'm going to do these little bits here. I think I've done all the tree in the main picture. I'm going to have another little look. I'm wondering if those bits, probably not, no. I'm going to do this bit. The sling was so heavy on her neck, where her, as I say, where her arm was so heavy, that she knocked herself out. So she passed out. She also used to trip up on and slip on a rug. I always slipped in her house. Now she had lino floors in her flat, and she used to polish them with she had one of these electric polishers that I used to use in, I'm sure I used to see them using them in like shopping centres and things like that. Anyway, she would use that, polish her floor. We're going to get a darker brown. I'm going to use the sepia, which is the darkest one, and I'm just going to fill in some areas of these trees where I think they should be a little bit darker. Now we've got the marks on here to tell us where to do it, so that's nice. So I'm just going to follow some of the markings that are on there already. So yes, she used to put rugs on top of this polished floor. I remember as a child running into the bathroom. I wasn't in a rush to go to the bathroom. I was just it was really dark and scary in the corridor. So, so I was rushing along, and get to the bathroom, feet on the mat. Whee! I slide along and end up falling on the floor. Now I was fine, but you know, she managed to do it. She got older. And my dad eventually managed to convince her to take the rugs up or to stop polishing the floor. But I think she refused to stop polishing the floor. It was just something she did. So she took the rugs up. But yeah, eventually it was a bit of a worry. So there was a couple of different places she went to. In the end, one place she didn't like, moved her into another one. So, but yeah, she was amazing in that the first time she went on an aeroplane, She was 80 something, I can't quite remember what age, 80 something, and she travelled to Australia. Can you believe it? First plane ride, Australia. And she went after us. So she wasn't on her own. She travelled with her daughter who lived there. Now this house roof, I'm thinking I'm going to do next, because I can pick out the roof quite easily. But I want all the roof to be the same colour, and I'm thinking, should we do it red? Like let's grab our swatch chart, we can have a little look. We've got these sort of orangey reds. This mahogany is quite a good colour. Yeah, that's what I want, mahogany. So it's not a red, you know, it's not scarlet. Here it is, mahogany. Now, if you don't have Holbeins, I should have told you at the beginning, I do have some comparison swatch charts. So if you're colouring along and you don't have them, grab one of my swatch charts and you'll be able to colour along with your favourite set, hopefully. If you can't find a comparison swatch chart for your favourite set, in my Ko-fi shop, links are in the description, let me know and I might be able to pop one together for you. I quite like making swatch charts and comparison charts. Swatch charts are much easier. I just put the pencils in the order that I think they should go in and then swatch them, that's fine. Comparison charts are a little bit trickier because obviously you have to sort of look at the colours and try and find the best matches and that sort of thing. Sometimes some sets don't match very well, you know, that sort of thing. Oh, I like that colour like that. I can do this one as well. But they take a lot longer. But it gives me something to do when my videos are exporting off the camera, or once I've edited them, they're exporting and things like that. Sometimes it can take an age. It's only something to do. Now, often I'll just sit in colour, which is lovely. But, you know, making a swatch chart is equally a good use of my time. And then it means you've got something you can use as well. I've coloured this bit in darker because it was crosshatch, and I think it works quite well. We've got the same going on here. So this crosshatch side can do a bit darker. So yes, I don't mind making them at all. I've done loads though. And actually when you're in my Ko-fi shop, it can get a bit overwhelming. And there is a link, if you want it. There is a blog article on my website which has a list of all the things in the Ko-fi shop, and it's written in a nice coherent order. So you've got swatch charts in alphabetical order. Then you've got comparison swatch charts. It gives you the colouring book index pages and things like that. I try to keep it in a decent order on the Ko-fi site. It's quite difficult to every time I add in a new one, I have to remember to move it because it appears at the top, and it can be a little bit tiresome moving it all around. It's quite difficult. I have said to them that it's quite hard, suggested that they change it a little bit. I mean, you can only suggest. I don't know how hard that would be. I'm not a programmer. You know, it might be really, really hard. But you can suggest, and that's that. So yeah, so those are available for you to have. You can just take them for free. Some people donate, some don't. It's completely up to you. I wanted to make it available so that whether you could afford to or not, you could still join in and have them. Because I know colouring can feel a bit like an exclusive club. She says using some of the most expensive pencils known to man. Not quite, but you know what I mean. But that's why I've got the comparison charts, and then you can still join in, even if you don't have the right, you know, the same pencils. There's no right and wrong. Now, we have a lot of woodwork, I feel, these sort of pillars and edges of the roof and things like that. And I'd quite like to use a lighter brown so that it contrasts with our tree trunks. I'm having a look. There's a few lighter browns here. We've got this khaki colour, which actually looks brown to me. In this country, khaki is usually more like this sort of colour, like army uniform. We call it khaki. I think in America, some of you call it khaki. But if we say khaki, we mean sticky. It's funny. I love our language. So I think that khaki might be a good colour, because I don't really want to go to these really, really light browns. So that's what I'm going to grab, if I can find, here it is. Yeah, yeah, so there it is, khaki. I'm not going to apologise for saying it in a way that maybe you don't like. And I'm going to do what I think looks like the sort of wooden bits of the house. It's a slightly yellowy greeny brown, isn't it? But I think it's fine. It's got the intensity that I want. I don't want it too wishy-washy. I'm gonna, oh, I think my lead's a bit wobbly. I want to do this sort of frameworks. I can see some sort of bits of frames like that. Like that. Now sometimes, as I just done then, you have to guess a little bit with Kerby, sort of try to guess what's supposed to be what, and I think it's fine. You know, I just do what I think. This looks like a little balcony. And we've got a bit down the side here. Yeah, I'm just going to work away. You can watch and join in if you want to. Oh, my toenails need cutting. I can feel them poking into each other. Well, not the nails. The nail poking into my foot. I was trying to cut it this morning, but obviously I must have missed one. Never mind. We'll get there. Now, I'm thinking, does this pillar here need to be like that? Impatient girl. Ooh. Excuse me, I've got my towel. Oh, I've got a tickle. Yeah, I find the towels nice for soft pencils. Right, here we go. I haven't done it really sharp because I don't think I really need it massively sharp. I just need to be a bit gentler with it. But it did feel a bit wobbly when I first picked it up, so that might have been part of it. Oh, the window frame. See, I think there's a bit of framework going on here, even though I can't really work out what it is. Oh, just move my sharpener so I don't put my elbow on it. Now up here, look, there's a bit here, but I don't know about that bit. Maybe that will be a sort of silvery colour. Maybe. Yes, it's Saturday. It's the first proper show of my favourite dancing show, so I'm very excited. We had the sort of launch last week, but they just do a group dance and we sort of introduce everybody and things like that, and it's just a bit, it's fine, it's good, it's exciting, but today we have the actual dances, their first dances, you know, and we actually get to find out who's good and who's not. Now, I have some impressions already and some ideas, but sometimes I'm really shocked. Sometimes I'm not. You can get some ideas from just looking at some of the sort of footage and just seeing how they move and things like that. And you sort of know that some people are going to have an advantage. You know, some people would have had a bit of a dancing background. Some people that have acting background, which helps with acting out the characters in the dance. Some people are used to working on live television, which again is a big advantage with regards to nerves. Some people are musical, and that really helps, you know, with listening to the beat and, you know, getting the dancing at the right in the right place at the right time. So you know, there's different people have different advantages. There's a couple of people who have been in musicals, so I think they are likely to be very good. But I think the problem comes that people like to see an improvement, and so if they're too good already, that may not happen. So that sometimes puts them at a disadvantage. But we'll see. As I say, I'm very excited, and We've got our new sofa cushion, so I can curl up on the sofa, watch the show. It'll be lovely fun. So yeah, so that's my evening planned. It's on from 5 to 7 till 9:25. Wow, that's a long TV show. So that'll certainly take up. That's past my bedtime. I'm definitely in bed by 9 most nights, so it's quite late for me. And it might also mean I'll get less colouring done now, between now and Christmas, because I've been watching. I don't colour while I watch. Some TV I do, but not that. My favourite show, I just sit there and I just absorb and enjoy, you know, whereas some other shows I'll watch. But also if they have adverts, you know, commercial breaks, then I will do colouring then, but this show doesn't, so because it's on the BBC, I don't get adverts. So there isn't a chance to sort of stop and do a little bit of colouring. Right. I'm thinking I need to do that. I'm just having a look, really, seeing what I've missed. Now, a lot of... I think that needs to be filled in. I couldn't decide when I was first doing it. I think a lot of what we're seeing now in this picture is through windows and bits or edges. I think that could be solid wood like that too. So, excuse me, that bit needs colouring in. Sorry, this is the problem I find with Kerby, is I get a bit confused. But it's okay. I can do the inside of that with this. So I'm thinking the bits that are inside the windows I might do in grey, but some of these bits aren't inside. So I'm going to fill in the bits that aren't inside with this colour, I think. That's what I'm going to do. Because there's only a little bit. That could be a window. Is it though? It is on that side, except for that bit. I don't think that is. I think that might be a framework there. There we go. Oh, let's do that arch and above there. And there. There we go. And then inside the windows, because it's spooky, I think we could probably do it in sort of grey. Maybe a warm grey. Warm grey 4, I think I'm going to use. Warm grey 4, here it is. Yeah, warm grey number 4. These have a little hashtag on. I can't put that in my video description, so I just put the number 4 because that means something, you know. If you put hashtag something in your video, it's part of a sort of search term. Well, it doesn't look very dark. I'm going to have to darken it up a bit. I can't put the hashtags in, so I just put the number. I'm sure it makes enough sense to everybody. Bit there I missed. I'm probably going to be doing this a little bit. There's only a tiny bit there that I missed in the other colour. It's got a broken window on this one, look. It's quite fun. I think that bit should be this colour. But yeah, as I say, I might be going back and forth a bit between colours till I'm satisfied. I think that white, that bit there, and that bit in there too. My rattling. My storage thing is metal and it's rattling. I don't know how well you can hear it. I'm going to do that bit there in khaki and just go over those bits because it's a bit messy. Oh, I feel like I want to sneeze. I'm going to have to stop the video. Right, that's better. Now, it's still sort of doing through the windows basically. That one's cute. You can see shelves with things on through that one. That one looks like a fountain or something, but it's definitely inside. Now that's the window. A lot of that is outside. So just going to sharpen this one, the khaki. There we go. And then just go around here. Yeah, so basically what I have decided is that everything, the roofs are the mahogany, everything else is khaki unless it's through the window, and then everything that's through the window is warm grey 4. I don't think that's window up there. So we've only used a few colours, keep it simple. The difficulty is really in deciphering what's what, but as I said before, it doesn't necessarily matter if you're right or not. I'm going to colour that. I had said I was going to leave that as a window, but I'm not now. Oh, there's a bit I've missed there. There we go, just tidying up, making sure I've got no missed bits. I think we're done with that. Now we have the pointy tops of a few of these turrets, which I'd like to do in a silvery colour. Now we actually have a silver, so I think I'm just going to use it. Oh. Here it is, silver. And we're going to do this one here. Oh, it's not very see-through, this silver. And that one. There we go. So there is the building and the tree done. I'm thinking, maybe, do I leave that there or do a little more? I think I'm going to leave that there. Maybe we'll just do these steps. That would be a good place to finish. So what colour would you do these steps? Well, I'm thinking a grey. Now we've got, obviously inside our windows is grey, so maybe we'll go for a cool grey and then they'll contrast. So I'm going to go for the cool grey 4. So here it is, cool grey 4. So this is a more silvery grey rather than a browny grey. I'm just going to go over all of it really. The skull I'm probably going to just leave white, leave it as it is. I don't know if I might go over it in a bit of white actually, just to make it stand out a little bit more, but I'll decide later. I think that is it with regards to the steps. It does look quite warm, that cool grey. Hopefully it looks a bit different to the houses. So if we come out and you can see the page as a whole, I'm hoping that doing about half an hour today, and then we might have about half an hour tomorrow to do the rest. I think it'll probably work out time-wise, hopefully. Okay, so that is me for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and happy colouring.